Did y'all hear that?
That's crazy. You can like leave the meeting if you feel uncomfortable with being recorded. I mean, you can leave the meeting regardless, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Damn, man. Well, we were not. Were we here last week? No, we weren't here last week.
No,
We weren't here last week, man. Welcome back to another episode of.
I forgot where.
How you forget we're recording when it just
I
said?
was like, wait.
Oh,
When you
that's
said, wait, was
crazy.
we here last week? I was like, oh, wait, recording.
That was part of the recording, Jada. Oh my
I knew
god,
that. I knew
that's
that.
crazy. Well,
Ain't
welcome
been here in
back.
a couple of weeks, so that's why.
Yeah, wow. Welcome back to another episode of Where Da Luv At podcast. My name is Dwayne. I also go by the very best. I'm here with my co-host Jada.
AKA Jada Fire. I'm just kidding. That was old college. That was an old college nickname. Maybe we'll maybe we'll tell a story sometime today or a couple episodes from now.
Love a good Jada Fire story.
And then, as you know, we have our friendly wizard Kelly, my amazing wife Nubia.
Hey y'all.
And this week
Hey,
we have
sister.
this week we have a special guest, Dennii. Dennii, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How are y'all doing?
We here.
Mr. Kelly just took me out a little bit. I
I heard that every week. Ain't even right.
She's gonna be on camera though, so she is literally Wizard Kelly,
Mr. Kelly.
Wizard of the Oz, all of the above. She embraces the role though. She loves it, and
I do.
That's how we have her, man. But Dennii, we're really excited to get you on here. As you know, guys, we are a podcast that talks about relationships, marriage, specifically
Every
black
fucking thing.
the marriage, everything. Jada Wilds out, sex talks with Jada. You know how it
That's
goes.
coming soon. Sister Sundays. I'll talk to you about. I can do. We'll talk later. But yeah, we're gonna do another episode.
Yeah. So, Dennii, we're excited to have you this week, and just to go let the people know a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Dennii. My real name is Denise, but I go by Dennii. I am from Norfolk, Virginia, born and raised, and I am 32 years old. I have a photography/videography business with my husband called Vision Suite Media. We've had this business since 2011, and I'm also a blogger. Like to blog about self-care, motherhood, family, lifestyle type of things. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you on. So, to get started, I know Noobs had some questions you want to ask. Noobs, you want to go ahead and start it off?
Yeah, absolutely. So like we talked about Dennii before we started the podcast, I absolutely love your page. I think it is so relaxing and it's very aesthetically pleasing. I can see where your work comes in. Like your kind of content is not something that you can fake. This is like a lifestyle. I can say it's your job and it should look so professional and beautiful and like refreshing. And
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Wait a minute. Where can I follow her page? I missed it. Can somebody catch me up?
Yeah, I got you.
How did we find Demi or Demi found us?
After Nubia asked the question, I was going to go into it.
Oh, all right. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun. It's been a minute. Go ahead.
You can tell who ain't been to their job in 2 weeks.
It's Pride Month, y'all. Y'all know it's been a minute since I've been here. I missed y'all.
But let me answer that question for you, Jada. I was looking for, Black married people to talk to and reach out to, and I saw Denny's page. I was like, I think she'll be a dope person to have on the podcast. So just
So you
DM'd
was
her.
creeping. That's some creepy shit, low key.
Oh my
Low key.
God.
I thought maybe like she reached out.
Instagram.
I'm just playing.
That's crazy.
I'm just playing.
That's crazy.
Everybody
That's
creeps on
wild.
Instagram.
We all
Listen,
creep. We
man.
all creep.
I ain't know when you was gonna come
you're
back.
not a creep. You're not a creep until you accidentally hit the like button on like a post from 2014. That's when you officially become.
That's true.
Then
Be
you're a
looking
creep.
like, cause some people be having pictures, and like one couple I found, they had the pictures up, and then the pictures wasn't there no more, and it said single. So I was like, you just got the TBT pictures in there. So you know, you gotta keep going. You gotta be conscious. I can't be like, hey, you trying to have. You talk about we're married, and she's like, oh, I'm divorced. Or the person's like, oh, I'm divorced. You know what I'm saying? So, that's how you got to creep, I guess, to make sure you know what I'm saying. But true. Yeah, I found Dennii, reached out to her, and that's how we got her on the podcast. And she is actually going to be on the first edition of Married Mondays with Nubia tomorrow as well. So excited for that. Nice. But
definitely
didn't mean to cut you off, Noobs and Dennii. I'm going to ask you the question again. It really was Jada, but
I'm on mute.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just giving Dennii all the praise for her beautifully sculpted and crafted Instagram page. But we see one of the major things that we see on your page is your husband and your daughter. So I kind of wanted to start off by saying, how did you meet your husband? Like, what's your backstory? Tell us everything.
Okay, well, we actually met in high school. We were not high school sweethearts though. We were just friends. We met in high school, and then maybe he's a year older than me, so he graduated a year before I did. And I'll say maybe 2 years out of high school for me. We basically ended up reconnecting through a singing group that he was already a part of, and I had a friend who invited me to join the group, and he was there. And basically, we were just really good friends. There's like an interesting part to the story because basically at the very, very beginning of our relationship, really wasn't a relationship, the very, very beginning of the I like you, you like me type of thing, he found out he was having a baby from a previous situationship. So it was like, boom. But at that point, we couldn't be anything but friends. You know what I mean? So I thought that was it definitely was heartbreaking at the time, but it ended up being like the very best thing that could have ever happened because we really got to be just friends, like nothing else, just straight friends, you know? And then maybe about 10 months after he had his baby, that's when we started. And that was 2010? And we've been together ever since. We got married in 2014 and had our first child together 2 years ago in 2018. So
nice. Oh, that's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
All right, so he had the baby.
I knew you was going, damn, can we give her a minute?
Yes.
Listen, I'm asking the question.
Part of the story, right?
I had to ask the question because she just glossed over it. Like, you know, we were just friends. But how did you guys so you said 10 months. Were you guys like, yo, we want to be together, but we just got to be friends right now while you handle this? The baby
it was just straight friends. Just straight friends. I was dating. He was, figuring things out with his baby moms and whatever. And, it was definitely difficult. Like, very difficult because we were still singing in that group together at the time. So I would see her come into the rehearsals, into like the concerts, and things, all, and I'm like, low key painful to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was gonna add that. That's really where I was going. Like, how did you deal with that?
I mean, I guess I'm kind of the person that's like, it is what it is. It's funny because right before, I remember, so it was like right around the time when he told me. It's funny because he actually told me this on our first official date. Like, okay, by the way, just want to let you know this is about to happen. But anyways, I was on a vacation. It was like near the time that he broke the news to me or whatever. And it was my last day of vacation. And I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but sometimes I have conversations in the shower, or I'll just hear things come to me in the shower. And when I legit like heard it so clear, like super clear. And it was like, when you get home, things are going to be different. But if it's meant to be, it's going to be. And I was like, what is that? Like, okay, what are you talking about? And when I got back home is when he was like, you know what? I just want to try things with, this situation. Want to give it a fair shot. You know what I'm saying? So it was like literally just cutting everything off with us. And it was like, whew, that's what that meant. You know what I mean? So I kind of like, because I heard that, and for me, it was just like, all right, cool. Do what you got to do, because I'm going to do what I got to do, you know? And if we're supposed to be together, we're going to find our way. Like, that's just what that is.
Nice. So, like, Jade is married. Me and Newbie are married, of course. Me and Newbie been married for a year going on now. Jada's about to be a rookie to this.
I'll be married for a year in October. Thank you, sir.
She a rookie to this.
Newbies.
Yeah.
You're going on 7 years, almost 7 years.
Yes.
How has that journey been? Like, what has changed since you guys got married? What did you have to learn? How has it been for the past 7 years?
It's been really good. I think that the most that's really changed so much is like the responsibility, you know, with us being parents and whatnot. But I think that because we were married for about 3, almost 4 years when we first had our child together. Of course, you know, with the previous child or whatever, his child from a previous relationship, my bonus baby, as I call her, we were able to still experience life together with just us, low key, you know what I'm saying? You know, in between the times when we would have her. So I'm very grateful for that, because that kind of brought us together. We kind of turned into like super introverted people when we first got married. So we were like always home together, like, because honestly, we'd rather only be with each other anyway. But, you know, as the years progress, of course, you're learning new things about each other, especially as you're both still growing. You know, we're still pretty young. I'm 32. He just turned 33. Still fairly young and still fairly new in this. And it's just like, you just have to just be ready and just be open to whatever is, you know, unfolding in front of you, and just like really deciding to stick together. Like, this is it. We're not going nowhere. So this is what it's gonna be. We're gonna figure it out.
All right. One more question before news. Hops in.
Just hijacked our question. Like, let me stop talking shit.
Relax.
No, it's all good. I like it. I like the collaborative effort.
I want to ask. You guys run a business together.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys separate the business and marriage?
Oh, good question.
See, I had the same question, but it was a little different.
That's why we married.
I was about to say that too.
It just kind of flows for us because we were already working together prior to getting married. It didn't seem difficult, and I think in our business we kind of have there's roles, you know. Not anything that we've said, okay, you do this, I do this type of thing, but we just kind of just flow naturally with each other. And so I think that kind of makes it a little bit easier. But we could turn it off real quick. Like, turn off the business super quick, turn it on when we need to be. It just kind of works. I really can't tell you like step stuff, but like, you know, all right, first we do this and then we do this. We're really just go with the flow type of people. And he's very, I don't know if you know anything about like fire signs or astrology and whatnot, but I'm a fire sign. But he's a earth sign. So it kind of just balances out. You know what I mean? Like when I'm like, he's like, all right, calm down. Relax. So we've just learned how to pick up a flow with each other to work through things and with business.
News. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. Well, one more thing. This is for the floor. This is for the floor. Y'all really believe in the astrology and science thing?
Okay. Okay, so I believe that I don't believe in all of it, but I feel like there are a lot of things that be spot on that you can't, you know what I mean? Like,
again,
I ain't saying that you got to believe in every piece of it, but there are a lot of things that be like, oh, dang, I definitely do that. This is definitely me. This is definitely that person. And I feel like, you know, while everybody has their own unique characteristics, this is something that you can kind of use in the back of your mind to remember, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of, for me at least, it helps me to figure out how I can react or, you know, interact with other people or whatever, what it's going to be like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I agree.
I know Nubia believes. She's like, you're a Leo, I'm a Libra. It's meant to be. And
Right. And I love Leos. My daughter's a Leo and my rising sign is a Libra. So, you know, this is going to be great.
It's funny because my husband and daughter are both Libras.
See?
And I love Libras. I get along, and I'm an Aquarius. I get along so well with Libras. They're, because I'm very like rah rah rah, and he's really like, calm down, chill out, like you just
right.
So I definitely can relate to you on that level.
all right. Was it Kelly?
Yeah, for sure.
Any other questions, Pastor Hewitt?
I know, right? He was definitely on his
Dennii was just, he kept saying things and it just came to my mind. I was like, let me ask. You know?
A light bulb was going off.
Right. But yeah, I was definitely going to ask you about like, what advice would you give to like a young couple such as Dwayne and I, like newlyweds-ish, who work together, not really how to separate it, but how to like balance it out? Because I feel like it's very easy to blur the lines of like, you know, the marriage stuff, the parent stuff, the business stuff, you know, like who does what, coordinating. And we're very much like you and your husband as far as like, we don't have set roles. We just kind of like jump in where we're needed.
Right.
Which has flowed very well because we've been together for like 6-7 years. So we've definitely found like a rhythm of, you know, how to communicate effectively. But every time something new comes into our space, that kind of changes, right? Like now we're parents, so we have to communicate about that. Now we're, you know, doing a podcast together. How do we communicate about that, you know? So like, what would you, because you've been doing it for 10 years, you know, you guys have been together for a very long time and working together for a very long time. So I know you have some wisdom. So yeah, what would you say?
I think that, you know, the biggest thing is just to stay open with each other and keeping the communication completely open. Just, you know, of course, you know, finding your flow, of course, is like the biggest thing, but really it's the communication piece. If it's like, you know, sometimes it could be one or the other who could be more into the work, you know, that the other person is not. It's easy for me to just jump out of it, you know what I mean? And sometimes if he's like in it, he's in it, you know what I mean? He's also a music engineer as well. So when he's in it, he's the technological person. So he's super like, once he starts, it's hard to pry him off of it. But I think, you know, as far as like finding something that you can do on a daily basis together, whether that's just sitting to have some tea together. I've seen Viola Davis and her husband take like baths together every night. I don't know how they do that every night.
I love them.
I love them too. But I don't know if I'm taking a bath with you every night.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm there yet.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We gotta get a big ass tub.
I was about to say their bathtub is a big tub. I'm pretty sure it's
they got a pool.
They had to get away with murder money tub.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But I feel like if you find something that you can do together on a daily basis to reconnect you in that way, that it can be very helpful. Sorry,
nice. I love that. Hey. Feel free. He is welcome to join. Hey, we're open. So when you were first talking about how what's your husband's name? I'm sorry, I just want to refer to him by.
His name is Tim.
Tim, okay. So when you and Tim met, you know, you guys were working together in the singing group, which tells me you're both creatives, obviously with your profession and, you know, just your lifestyle. So a lot of professionals and creatives have ego. There's a lot that goes on with that. There's a lot of, you know, struggle that kind of comes with that. And, you know, I'm a Leo, so I'm fire. Everything's competition. Everything's, you know, high end and aggressive. So just thinking about sharing your talent, but also being able to support him. Because I know one of the things you said you focus on with your blog is self-care. So how have you all been able to kind of like set aside your egos or meet your individual needs based off, you know, your relationship, but having that, you know, I'm creative, he's creative, like finding that balance? What does that look like for you guys?
I think that, and I can't really speak for what his process is.
Sure.
but I can definitely speak for mine because I know that specifically around the time when we had our first child together, it was kind of difficult for me because I had hit postpartum pretty heavy. And I just didn't feel creative at all. But if you're a creative person, when you're not creating things, you don't feel like yourself, you know? And at the time, he would be recording things all the time, and he started mixing and mastering for other people, and I was just watching him go off his little creative dreams, and I'm just sitting there like, I can't think of anything to write. So for me, I think that, and this is why I talk about self-care so much. I always, when I have moments like that, it makes me dive deeper into the self-care. And so, yeah, like once I realized that I was dealing with the postpartum, I kind of just let go of the idea of trying to create something and focus more on creating peace within myself. So I started to meditate daily. Like that became the main thing that I was trying to do, as opposed to making something. And for me, that kind of brought me back into like, oh, okay, I feel that flow again. I feel like, you know, I feel like I'm myself again. I feel like I can create now. I can watch him create and not be mad because I'm not creating. Like, you know, it just became a lot easier when I just started working on myself and dealing and you know, keeping time for yourself. I think that's a big piece too. Because like I said, for us, we super introverted. We just stay together all the time, always together. And it's like, you know, eventually you find out, okay, yeah, I like this person a whole lot, but I kind of need my time.
Absolutely.
So I think that was also a very helpful piece as well.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for being vulnerable and talking about postpartum. I know that in general, it's a big deal, but it's a special big deal and unique situation for Black women because, you know, we're already being so dehumanized, belittled, you know, we're frustrated, we're isolated, we're invisible. You know, so I appreciate you being candid about that because, you know, a couple weeks ago, Jada was talking about, we're talking about sacrifice. And Jada said, you know, one of the things that I witnessed and I went through was that there was a freedom that her husband had when she had her baby that she didn't have. And that slapped me in the face. Like, I was like, oh my God, like you gave
talk to me, girl.
Feeling.
Listen,
you know, it's no shade to my husband because Dwayne is an incredible father. He's been an incredible boyfriend and husband. But there is this feeling of like you get to detach yourself, and I cannot. You know, I feel guilty about everything. Everything's emotional and heightened.
Listen.
So that you said is so real, and finding the self-care and the time. You know, that is just like that's so authentic and so genuine. And I wanted to make that connection because Jada said that like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, if you said it, she said it, like there's something there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that dynamic switches up quick once that kid gets in because, and same way, Tim is great. You know, we were definitely blessed because literally the month before I had my baby, Virginia, the governor, he passed a law where basically like everybody that works for the state gets paternity leave for 2 months. So that meant that I wasn't on maternity leave by myself. He was there to help me throughout the entire process. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
So that was very helpful, but there was still, you know what I mean? Like, and even as the baby grows, you know what I mean? Like he could come home sometimes and for him, in his mind, he just goes off to what he needs to do. And for us, we're like, all right, now we got to cook dinner. We got to get this bath ready. We got to figure out what they're going to wear tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? It's just all these lists. And it's like, that's part of the reason why I had to make time for myself. Like, listen, if I'm going to have to do all these things, I'm going to make sure that I'm straight first. Because I can't help nobody else if I ain't straight.
Absolutely.
And if I feel like it's getting overwhelmed, I'll be quick to be like, hey, I need you to do this. Because I can't do it. Take your shout.
Absolutely. How did you find to do that? I'm sorry, Jada, you go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
How did you find the voice to like share your concerns? Because that's another thing too. Like you out, like you said, you have all these things going on in your head. Your wheels are always spinning. Like, what I gotta do next? Your checklist is, you know, endless. So how do you find the strength to voice your concerns to your partner and just say like, I need this, or I need you to step in when you're dealing with your own emotions and your own hormones?
Well, I know that it really got to it didn't get so bad. I don't want to say it got to a point where, but I just knew that if I didn't say anything, I was going to build resentment, and I didn't want to feel that way. I knew that wasn't going to be healthy for me, and it wasn't going to be healthy for our relationship, and it definitely wasn't going to be helpful for our children to be watching that happen and seeing that dynamic of their mother taking on everything. And so I knew I had to, because that wasn't what I wanted in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's real. That's a struggle. It's a hard thing.
It is.
There's a lot of emotions.
And it's reoccurring. I don't think it ever like stops. Like, I think that you have to, continually make adjustments, going forward, because it's, moms, you just naturally take on those things, you know what I mean? But if it's like you got a man living in your house or a spouse partner living in your house, that is not supposed to just be you. Like, I mean, some people have their gender roles. That's fine. That's fine, but you got to know it works for you. And I know for Dennii, I can't do it all.
Nor should you have to.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I think it was also a little bit easier too. I'm sorry if I cut you off.
No, you're good.
I think it was a little bit easier too, because he, had a child from a previous relationship, so he was used to what co-parenting looked like. And so he knew how to do all the things for his daughter already when we had this child. So for him, and the thing was, he didn't get to experience it the way that he is able to now, because I'm his wife, so he was excited to be a part of all of that, all of the doctor's visits. I don't ever take her to a doctor by myself. He comes to every appointment, we share bath days and things like that. He was really excited to be a part of that because he didn't get to experience that with his, his first daughter. So I think that also helped as well.
For sure.
I love this conversation about postpartum, because like it's not talked about as a guy. Like, we don't really know too much about it. So honestly, I would like you ladies just to continue on. Jada, Noobs, like, one thing about me, like, as Newbie is a new parent, new mom, like, that is my biggest concern, because I had the pleasure of like learning about it prior to us getting married and prior to us having a baby. So I try to like look for signs, but I don't know if there is actually really signs. So I just like for you all to go more into that. I know Jada, you're Charlie, our goddaughter, is about to be 2. So just want you guys to continue with that conversation, because I feel like this is not something that's talked about as often.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I do want to highlight regarding postpartum, men can go through it too, even though you didn't actually physically, have the child. What I noticed that, men experience it as well. And I believe that he won't ever admit this. I think my husband kind of went through it in a way because it really took a toll on our relationship because we weren't married just yet. And for me, I know some of the signs and symptoms, I wanted to do everything on my own. I didn't want to ask for help because I had this strong mom mentality, being in school, working. Well, I was off work at the time, but I was still in school. So I wanted to do it all because I wanted things done a certain way. I didn't realize how particular I was, and I didn't ask for help. Like, I wanted her bottles cleaned a certain way. I wanted, she ate at a certain time. I wanted her clothes washed a certain way. I kind of turned into almost a narcissist. And I'm like, this isn't me. And I was super irritable, and the smallest things irritated me. I had really severe postpartum, if I'm being transparent. So everything was really heightened for me. I was very emotional. He could have said one thing, and then now I'm bursting into tears. So it got to a point where I was just like, I need help. Like, I need help. So, I did. I went through my own therapy. I talked to, my husband. He was very, very supportive. He was like, Jenny, you just have to tell me what to do because I don't know. And I think he felt helpless, and that helplessness kind of turned into him, playing basketball more, going to the gym more, staying longer at work. And I'm like, because he was able to be home for like 20 days. But I'm like, and I was talking to my mom about it. She was like, you didn't realize, Darius was going through it too. But I was so focused and in my head about trying to be this perfect mom that I wasn't even able to pay attention to my own husband. So kind of like looking back now that, I'm out of the postpartum, it was just like, wow, we both were going through it because he was a new parent as well. Yeah. Now fast forward to being out of postpartum, but my husband's in the military now, he's gone. That's a whole new level of functioning for me. And I get to the point where it's just like, I throw self-care out the window, and I had this idea of being a perfect mom doing all of this. I'm like, Jay, you still have to ask for help. Yeah, he's still a great provider from far away, but the physical presence, he isn't here right now. So for me, it's just being very intentional and taking care of myself so I can be the best I can be for everybody. But men suffer from the postpartum too, and I just really want to highlight that.
That is true. I think that is true that they do suffer postpartum as well, even though that they may not voice it or it doesn't look, the same as ours. But I think that it's hard when you're going through it to be able to see what's happening for them, because at the end of the day you just gave birth. And that's something that we got the hormones, the things that are in our body that are literally changing things up for us. You know what I'm saying? That's something that we cannot control at all. Like at all. So it is definitely hard to focus on both, you know what I mean? But like you said, it's like I feel like for me, I had to, because I was kind of that way too. Like things had to be a certain way. And so a lot of times I would not want to ask for help because I would want them to be done in a particular way. And I had to like have a talk to myself, like, listen, homegirl, if you ain't done, you have to alter. Yep. Tell them what you need to be done, the essential parts of it. And however it turns out, you gonna have to be okay with that, because you can't keep doing this to yourself. Like, that's just not it's not gonna go down, like it's not gonna
you will shut down. You will shut down.
Yes, and that's one thing your body gonna tell you. You ain't gotta listen if you don't want to.
But it'll get you. It'll catch you.
It's gonna get you quick.
It sure will.
It's gonna get you. So I think that it's good when both people are very I guess aware of it for each other. Cause like it was the same thing for me. Like I honestly, before having a child, I only heard of postpartum in the extreme. You know what I mean? So he actually has his childhood barber had an experience where his wife actually killed her kids and herself because of postpartum. And so when we heard that story, that was like before we got married or whatever, we heard that story together. We were like, dang, that's wild. You know what I mean? But you don't hear about it when it comes to like the lower levels. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that it's not
as hot.
Yeah, it's like, this is really, really terrible. And I think what sucked the most for me is that, after you give birth, they give you these forms to fill out at your doctor and the baby's doctor. And neither one of these doctors said anything to me. And I knew, because I have a lot of friends that are therapists as well. So, I was already talking to them, we were already aware of these things. So I was answering the questions honestly. And I knew what I was checking off. None of them called me and said, hey, Miss Parquette, I need you to go to a therapist. They didn't say anything. It wasn't until, and it's crazy because it wasn't until her fourth month appointment, the original doctor, he had an emergency. He wasn't able to see her that day. And we ended up getting another doctor. It was a Black male doctor. And he gave me the form. And literally that evening, he called me and was like, hey, Miss Parquette, I think you have postpartum. I was like, thank you. Thank you for I knew this already, but I appreciate you for being diligent and doing your job and making me aware of that. Like, thank you. I appreciate, you know what I mean? Because it's like people, they just pass it over. Like, you'll
and they don't care.
They don't.
And the crazy part is like, because I'm a therapist, right? I'm a trauma therapist. This is what I do. I have moms who've gone through postpartum that I've worked with. And I knew I was going through postpartum, but I think part of me felt embarrassed. It's crazy, and I'm being honest. So I knew how to beat the system. I told them, I said, you're giving me this form. I know how to beat this, the surveys that they give you to determine. I'm like, these questions aren't really good. They look at me like, Miss Williams, for real. And I'm like, I'm telling the truth. But when it comes
like, if I answer this way, you will take my baby from me.
And I knew what I was going through. I couldn't treat myself, and I knew I needed therapy. But what you saying, man?
I was saying that's the one. Like everything Dennii was saying. Like I obviously I'm the newest from postpartum, so I'm still trying to like work through it. And I know I had postpartum depression. I've already talked to my mom about it, seeking therapy. That form you fill out, that was my first thought. Like, if I'm honest on this form, will you take my baby? Like, will you do some, shady shit? Because as a Black woman, obviously in the medical world, we just have, hi, cutie.
You say hi. Hi. She just came back from her godfather, so that's why she's like.
She is too cute.
She's too cute.
Hey, go back and play.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that was a beautiful interruption.
Yeah, I just want to thank.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
No, you're fine. I was just agreeing. Go ahead, babe.
Oh no, I was just saying I just want to thank you. Like I felt like we always talk about how to gloss over it. So I was like, when this topic did come up, I was like, let's elaborate on it. And I appreciate you ladies for doing so, educating myself as well. So
what about the male perspective? What do you think about that?
Mm-hmm.
And dads and being a new dad.
If I'm going through postpartum, or
just like, do you think that's a real thing? That dads can go through it or have a
I think it is. I think it is a real thing. I don't think I've went through it yet, personally. But I definitely think it's something. I mean, I always care about the baby and want to make sure she's okay. That's like my main thought. But I always try to focus on Noobs as well, just to help her work through it as well. So just little things like that. But I definitely think guys can go through it. I don't think I've gone through it yet. I feel like it just depends. It may not be this child, maybe the next child. You just may never know. So.
I don't know. Absolutely.
Noobs, Zach, or Zuri Wild? No. I know Zuri was wilding out for a second.
No, yeah, she was wilding out. I had to put her on the food. I had to nurse her. She was like angry.
She was mad. She said, "What are you doing?"
She was chilling for a while watching Moana, but now she was like, "No, I need you back." I was like, "All right."
That's Char's favorite movie, Moana.
That's my daughter's favorite movie too.
She does. She'll just
make
stare
way.
That's my Jane now.
And she will. She'll be turning up on this little movie. I love this movie. So I was like, yeah, girl, watch a good one.
I'm like, yes, girl, we can watch her.
Yeah,
right. I love the grandma.
I love
Grandma Tyler.
Hey, you get kids, man, especially when they get to a certain age. That's no longer your TV. That's no longer your TV.
Right.
Really not.
Like, dang, I be watching TV on my phone sometimes.
Get them a tablet or an iPad. That's your best bet to have a little bit of time.
Noobs, did you have any other questions before? I need Jada to get spicy. She hasn't got spicy for us yet. So.
Oh, I'm behaving. We have a guest.
She said I'm behaving.
You gotta spice it up. You gotta get the spiciness, Jada.
No, News normally be having the spicy questions, then I just take it to a whole nother level.
Well, I can ask one that might be a little controversial, a little spicy, but how's your relationship with the mother of your bonus daughter?
Ooh, damn.
Listen, I can turn it on. I just let Jada turn it on.
It has come a very long way. Very long way. It was definitely difficult at first. It was never. We never had.
You took my man. You took my man. You took my man.
We never had those type of confrontational type of things. So I'm glad of that. Because I didn't. That's not me. I didn't want to be in that type of dynamic. You know what I mean? But it is much better. We're I wouldn't go so far to say we're like on some Alicia Keys and Mashonda or what's her name, Jada and Sherry. We not there, but we're definitely super cordial. Our kids be around each other or whatever. We could be around each other and she'll play with my child. Like it's fine. I am very happy about the place that we are now. But it definitely took some time, and I think that was really the only thing is me, because I had to, because I watched the whole thing, I was sitting there. So I think for me, I always kind of had this, like, now that he's with me, I still know how that feels. You know what I mean? I know that may be a hurtful thing for you. You know what I mean? So I never try to carry it like, well, that's my man. Like, I wasn't trying to carry it like that because, that still hurt. That's a hurtful thing to have to go through or whatever. So I kind of just, instead of trying to push the relationship to be better, I had to just sit there and allow the space and time that she needed, where it can be like, oh, okay, yeah, you're invited to the birthday party now. Had to wait for that. But I think in the meantime, what was helpful for me with waiting was that my husband had very firm boundaries so that nobody was confused about anything. You know what I mean? That was the biggest thing, you know, as long as he was very firm in the boundaries that he was setting for the both of us or whatever, you know, all we could just do was sit there and wait until she was comfortable.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to highlight something you had said earlier. You know, you called her your bonus daughter. I think I heard it correctly. I just think I love when, you know, blended families use that terminology, because I hate the term like step or just, you know, sibling. You know, I really love the term bonus, because I know growing up in a blended family myself, my parents have divorced since I can remember. My dad's on his third wife now. No shade to you, Dad, love you, but I have a really good relationship with, you know, his wife now. She even just calls me her daughter. And I was upgrading my dad about the terminology. Oh, that's my I forgot what he called him. What did I used to call him? Not the stepson used to be the terminology or something. So it was like, I was like, no, Dad, new term is bonus. And he was just like, okay, I can get used to that. So just, you know, hearing you say that, I was like, I love when I hear people use that terminology, but I just want to highlight that.
Yeah, we had a whole episode before dedicated to like growing up in blended families, because we all had that. So just how did it, you know, there was a daughter, another child involved. Like, how did you go about, you know, making sure that this child was always okay in this situation? Because it was a situation they didn't ask to be in, or was thrown into. So
I think that it was important for me how she viewed me. You know, she's gonna take mom's side. So I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna make her be like, you know what, you are right about this lady. This lady is crazy. You know, I didn't want her. I wasn't trying to give her those vibes, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of I guess it was kind of like really me and my bonus daughter name is Zay, so I'll, you know, call her Zay. It was very we had a period, you know, we had to adjust to each other as well. I saw it as a cool opportunity, but at the same time, my parenting structure is a little bit more, it's liberal, but it's very strict because I was raised by my grandmother. So I kind of got like a generation. But I thought it was cool because, you know, my mother passed when I was 6 years old. That's why I was raised by my grandma. And I never met my dad until I was 27. So the idea of this little girl gets to have two mommies is like, yo, that's lit. Like, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to just be the best I could in this situation for her, you know, and even in, you know, as she adjusts, give her time as well. Kind of the approach that I took, because I felt like sometimes it would seem like, you know, the parenting styles are different. So we had to, you know, okay, when you over there, I can't tell you what to do when you over there. But when you here, you know, there is a standard of, you know, a different standard, you know, not saying they didn't have one, you know what I mean? But, and it's even been times where I've had to, because of my strict upbringing, it's been times, you know, when you, and it's no diss because, you know, kids go say what they say. Kids they just be kidding sometimes. They do whatever they want, you know what I mean? And people's tolerance levels are very different. But I got one of those ears where as soon as it sounds like you about to like get a little spicy in how you answering somebody, it ignites something in me, and I'd be quick to be like,
get that look like,
you know what I mean? And it was definitely a time where I was picking her up for the weekend, and her mom was like still doing her hair. So I was waiting in the house, and she answered her a little bit too spicy for me. I was like, you're not about to talk to her like that no more. Not in front of me. I don't know what you do.
I know that's right.
And you know what I'm saying? But you're not, you know that you don't do that at my house. So you're not about to do that in front of me to your mama. You know what I mean? And then after I left, I was like, oh, shoot. Let me text her, make sure she not mad. You know what I'm saying? So like, I didn't want to overstep.
Yeah.
I felt like, yo, you don't talk to your, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not talking to your mom like that. And, you know, and luckily she was super like, thank you. Thank you for saying that, girl. I appreciate it. So it was like, all right, cool. But I think sometimes that can be the difficult part is the discipline, because, you know, my mama don't do that over here. So, you know, and I'm just trying to listen.
Your mama over there.
We gotta both be at peace. So you just gonna have to figure out. It may be two different ways at times. You know what I'm saying? But I think that the parents, all of the parents involved, have to be in agreement to that, and they have to stand by that. Listen, you at their house this weekend, so you can't. If she tell you to do
follow what they say, yep.
That's what you got to do.
Right. I think Noobs is with Zuri right now, so I'm gonna ask a question I know she had and wanted to ask you. What does black love mean to you, Dennii?
What does black love mean to me? It's like gold. Like, I don't know. It's like magic. It's super sturdy. Something that you can definitely depend on, you know. I don't think that, I mean, you know, everybody got their loves and, you know, all of that stuff or whatever, but it's something about the fight that you have to have for each other, to be with each other, and to really like be on some like us against the world type of thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just different. It's different. It's a little bit more heavy because it's more than just for me, it's more at this point, it's more than just us being in a relationship together. It's the generations after us. You know what I mean? Like the people that are looking at us, that may see pictures on Instagram, our friends that have been around. And it's like, it's important for us to have a firm foundation, so that all of the foundations after us that may witness us, that may come from our, you know, us being fruitful, all of that's gonna be sturdy if we sturdy. So if we get it together, they gonna follow right behind.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree with you. You do kind of feel like you kind of have like a responsibility, because like
to get this shit right.
Yeah. I remember my grandma. I was like, you know, black people don't get married. That's what she told me like years ago. I was just like, damn, like I like weddings I've been to. I haven't really been to like a black wedding, like or a wedding I've been to like white people from college. So I'm like, I want to like be there, like even to like my homies, like yo, like this marriage thing is lit, man. Like despite everything that everybody say to you, like it's cool. Like me and my best friend, he's married too. I got a couple other friends that are married, and like we be showing off our wedding rings and stuff, like you know what I'm saying, you know, wedding ring gang. So it's like, and then anytime I see like another black couple get married, like in my age group, I'm like, man,
love it.
Crazy. I feel proud, like I feel like you know what I'm saying. So I definitely understand. That was a beautiful answer that you had, Dennii.
Thank you. I think that it's important for Black men to hear that too, coming from a Black man's perspective, because you usually, unfortunately, you know, people get married just to get married, you know. So people get married, especially now, you know, you see everybody doing it on Instagram, and you see everybody with their 360 cameras. So you're like, well, I can't wait to do that at my wedding, and I want to do this, I want to be on this page, and you know, and it's like, yo, it is so much more work than that.
Morning show. Say it again.
It is so much more to that. And I know that my husband has definitely experienced where he's had guys that would come that were like on some like, you know, never getting married, or, you know, not thinking about marriage, and they would see us and they would ask him like, yo, is it really like good like that? And he's like,
that's how my friends are now. That's how my friends are now.
It's like, yo, you just gotta find the right one and just be committed. Like once you find that person, just stay committed and just be friends. Be good friends to each other. Because without that friendship piece, I think that is like, to me, that's like the most important part of our relationship, which is why I said that him having the baby at that time definitely was, I feel like that was a blessing in disguise, low-key, because man, it's like that friendship really will hold you together when times get rough, when it's like, I don't know if I love you right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that friendship is gonna hold you together, because you treat your friends different than you treat your partner a lot of times. You know what I mean? Especially, you know, you just be like, all right, you'll be fine. You know, go off to wherever you want to do, whatever. When that's your real home girl, that's your real homeboy. It's not that easy to just, you know, walk off and walk away, you know?
So you guys been married for 7 years. So Jay don't want to get spicy. I'm gonna get spicy.
Go ahead, get spicy.
How do you guys keep the marriage spicy? How do you keep it from not being old and stale? And how you guys go
He's
about that?
basically trying to say, how's your sex life? Fine, I'll say it. Damn it. I'm against
I was just trying to lead you to water, you know what I'm saying, so you can drink. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Put the curry powder in there, Dwayne.
You definitely got to stay open. I think that having time together, spending intentional time together, definitely makes a difference because you know you could just be around the house with each other and that's not really spending time. To me, at least, that's not spending time.
Yeah.
I want you, if we're spending time and we're trying to get spicy, it's like, no, I need your full attention. Everything needs to be here. So I think really marking out that time to be together. I know during the when the pandemic first started, we started having like date nights every Friday. As soon as my child went to sleep at night, we just whether it was a puzzle or we just eating food on the floor, watching a movie, just doing things together, having fun together. That's what keeps it spicy for me, because it's like I stay connected through us having those, you know what I'm saying, like not getting caught up in being mom and dad all the time, you know, and just remembering that it's like, no, it's, if we're not good, they can't be good. You know what I'm saying? It's like, of course we love our kids and you have to sacrifice things for your kids, but it's like, for me, it's like, yo, it's us first. Us first. And then we take care of these kids, because as long as we're taking care of us, they're always going to be taken care of.
Okay. And I think you highlighted something important talking about intimacy, and it doesn't always just have to be sex. I think a lot of people get it misconstrued when you think of intimacy. Oh, it's necessarily sex. No, it can literally be, like you said, sitting on the floor, watching a movie, you know, just cuddling, you know, cooking a meal together. One of the things, my favorite things, my husband and I will cook. Like, he was not the greatest cook, but as we were in the kitchen together, he was learning so many things. And that was really intimate for me, and for him as well. So just small things like that can also kind of keep it spicy, you know, pun intended, when we talk about cooking. But seriously.
And my husband, I think it's because we're from Norfolk. I don't know where y'all from?
I'm from Miami. These two are from Pittsburgh.
And my husband's from North Carolina, so it's a mix.
So in like Norfolk, we be bad with like roasting people. All we do is joke. So we're literally
in Miami.
We'll literally just be roasting each other. Like, but it's funny for us, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just a way for us to connect. And music is a big way for us to connect too. So we'll like just have like Friday, just look at all these different YouTube videos of like previous concerts or new music that may be out. Like, you know, just finding something that you have in common and keeping that, you know, keeping that there, keeping space for that.
Absolutely.
All right. If Noobs doesn't have any more questions, I have one more question for you. If you talk about music, and since you just brought that up, what is the number one wedding song in your opinion?
You know what?
Okay, so y'all want to talk to me about music. This would be a whole nother hour. You gotta give me a specific at what part of the wedding.
Oh. Right. I was like,
walking down the aisle. Are you talking about the family coming out? Are you talking about the first song? Where we at?
I got
Let's go first song.
Dance. Yeah, the
first dance. The number one. I don't know what the number one would be. Because you know, everybody got their songs that they connect to. Our first dance song was a Music Soul Child song called "Say I Do" off of Magic in the Music. But I know that that's not something that anybody just randomly pick. But I always like to see when couples do like a little bit more fast-paced songs. I think if I had to think of a universal song that would be great for that moment, it would be
Cash Money Records from the 99 and 2000.
That could definitely work.
Right.
Not opposed to that. We all know what to do once that comes on. But I think if I say like another first, maybe Al Green, what's the Let's Stay Together?
All right.
Possibly.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I'm a music connoisseur myself, so we can have a whole
Yes.
conversation about music. But News, did you have any other questions before we go ahead and end the episode?
I'm not gonna lie, I could talk to Dennii like all day about her life. Like I'm so interested. But no, I think that you cover all the big questions I had. I think it's dope that you and your husband create together. I'm looking forward to this journey that Dwayne and I are on right now, just kind of creating a podcast and content and just kind of creating like a community of Black people that are married, enjoy it, have good things to say about it, and want to talk about different ways to sustain it. So again, I thank you for your time. I would love to, talk to you more about everything, especially self-care during the postpartum stage, because I could use some help right now. And I'm excited to look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow for the first Married Monday. It's going to be a dope conversation I'm preparing some content for. So I'm excited. But yeah, just thank you for your time. I absolutely love this conversation and I want to keep the conversation going.
For sure. I feel the same way. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad that that you did your creeping, Instagram creeping.
Listen, man, whatever I can do to get the right content out. I
know that's right.
I think it's important, because Black people and marriage and that type of thing. I feel like it's so important. So when you can build a community, I think that's a great thing for y'all to be doing, because we really need a community out here to keep us all motivated to be good for each other.
Absolutely.
Man, so
this Thursday I'll post some tips for postpartum. This Thursday's Therapist Thursday will be specifically for postpartum, and it'll be kind of like signs, symptoms, what to look out for, when to seek out professional help. So I'm gonna make a note of that, but I'll make sure I kind of cover that to kind of go off of y'all Married Mondays.
Yeah, so I appreciate you, Dennii, for coming through. If you want the people to find you, where can they find you at?
Okay, well, I'm on Instagram at Dennii No P. It's spelled with 2 N's and 2 I's, so it's DENNIINOP. And then I have a website, which is www.dennii.com, where you can find a blog and information about the business and a lot of other stuff about me as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. It's nice to see you again.
Who, me?
Yeah,
we had a 2-week break. I had a 2. We technical difficulties. I ain't even about to we just leave that. All right.
Well, yeah, we appreciate you for coming on. I'm excited to watch you and Noobs tomorrow on Married Mondays. Hopefully, we can get a Tim sighting tomorrow as well. But again, we appreciate you. Thank you for replying to my DM and coming on the podcast. I think this was a great episode.
Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you. But so next time, we'll see you guys next week on Baby Where Da Luv At. Baby Where Da Luv At.